everybody. Welcome to Between Two Bellsprouts, where we talk about the things going on in Pokemon PvP community and world. And such a crazy world we live in. Jiggly was absolutely irate, and we just got joined by Dr. Trotter, so I will say that the title is presently wrong. I'll fix that.
Oh, shoot.
Always something. But Jiggly was so fired up on Monday that I had the most curse-filled stream that I've probably had in some time. I was so mad at Niantic for what we will talk about later, their Community Day announcement. And then by the next day, I was pretty much over it because I saw the switch mechanic and I'm just like, this has some hope. There's some hope here. There's some light at the end of the tunnel, but I don't know. We'll leave that verdict up to everybody. We'll talk about what everybody thinks about the switch mechanic, what everybody thinks about exactly what we're going to get moving forward. But it was quite a busy week for me in terms of PvP. I was trying to get ready. My side, or Mr. Dr. Pants and I are working on doing a Midwest mega that's going to combine into 4 other US megas to do something with Team Rocket, and we're doing that with Sosa Flow and True Blissey, and Alyssa who of course is one of my Bellsprouts, who will be here very, very shortly. But trying to figure out some of the dates on that. We're going to do our Midwest one on the 14th. You should be able to find that information on Twitter, but we will definitely publicize that more coming up. Have all sorts of stuff going on. I'll just talk about most of what happened for me as we go through, because pretty much all of these events hit on me. I know that my man scientist Ethan here, he had a very school-filled week. How are you recovered yet, Ethan?
It just ended. Like, my midterms were done yesterday, and then I had a lot of assignments due today, so I just was scrambling to get everything done. And then yeah, I'm here and I'm alive.
that is a very high recommendation scientist gives to this week. He is here and alive. Glad to hear it. How was your week down under? Did I hear correctly that for once the Aussies actually fared better on an event than the rest of us for perhaps the Alolan Marowak stuff?
I'm not going to be honest with you, Jiggly Dad. I was on holidays,
so
very opposite to Ethan, and I did 5 Marowak raids. I
nice.
think. I got 2 shinies and a hundo, and I was like, I'm done.
Wow.
Having a nap. Put my phone down and had a nap. So
yeah.
Holy cow! I had no experience like that for sure. I just know that I heard people like I think Alola was talking about getting 11 shinies or something like that. And I mean, I'm sure that they did way more than I did, but I mean, some of the numbers I was hearing were just crazy, and all sorts of goodies. I think was there something else too where the shiny rate was higher for you guys? I feel like there was something else where
I assume it must have been. I heard someone who did got 15 shinies in the first hour.
Oh,
so
I got absolutely none this time. I mean, I have them, but not with the move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did 5 and got 2 shinies, so there must be something in it.
All right.
Literally, I was on the couch and I'm like, I think I'm done, guys. I think Fish on a Heater and Debbie Pebble were streaming at the time, and I'm like, hey, this is what I've got. And they're like, oh, what are you going to do now? I'm like, have a nap, see yous, put my phone down, turn the air conditioning on, grabbed a blankie, and just had the best afternoon ever.
Nice. Yeah, sounds good to me. I would have enjoyed having that experience as well. But in the end, on these, for the most part, I guess it's about the ones you're able to trade for. So I haven't had any experience on that front. Have either one of you been able to do any AWAC trades, or do you have an AWAC you're planning to Elite TM, or are you not too excited about the move?
Yeah, I'm not. either way. Like I'll keep them, and I'll wait until there's a time to trade where it's like really important for a meta.
Right.
I don't think it's that like Shadow Ball's that good. I think is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So, there's times when Shadow Ball actually is better in matchups, and there's time when Shadow Bone is better in matchups. So, yeah, I'm not overly worried either way. But yeah, I do plan on doing trades for them when I find somebody else who's like, oh crap, I should have done trades. Like in 6 months' time, we need to do it. That's probably what'll happen for me.
Right.
What about you, Ethan?
Oh yeah. So I did do a couple mirrors, and I got a 500 overall, a 500 rank 500 overall. So that is pretty awesome. And I already powered it up because I was frustrated last night with GBL. So I always power things up when I'm frustrated with GBL. So just out of frustration, I power things up, and that was something I got powered up. So I don't have to worry about the future because I have one. So I can just use it whenever, I guess.
It kind of feels like that might be your equivalent of stress eating. Instead of stress eating, Ethan is much
Yeah.
healthier when it comes to eating. He just stress powers up things. He gets angry about it.
I get really upset, and then I hit the confirm button. I'm just like, there's all that anger. It just goes into the game. Yeah.
Must be nice to have the Stardust to do that.
I mean, that's why I like to like not power things up nowadays, because I have a lot of things built. So now, at least, so I just like keep all of it for when I'm angry, and then I keep it for a rainy day, and then I just let it all go.
Keep it for a rainy day, like me last night when I decided that first I let one of my subscribers convince me that I should take a level 3 rank 6 Alolan Raticate and power it all the way up. It was interesting. It was fun.
Oh, man.
It was fun, but that was a 250,000 dust. And then I decided that I wanted to run a Shadow Flygon in Go Team Up, so that was slightly expensive, and I used an Elite TM on that. So I was very spontaneous last night, but my Stardust reserves are getting very, very depleted. Anybody have any shiny luck in this event? I had some pretty absurd shiny luck these last 24 hours or so.
I've had nothing. Literally no shinies.
Oh man.
But back in, again, like literally, I'm catching like maybe 20 to 100 Pokemon a day back into my holidays. So
Right.
Work tomorrow is my first day back. So I've actually really enjoyed not playing.
Right. And I hear that a lot. Yeah, I got the shiny Wurmple on stream. I got the shiny Skarmory on stream with Ethan in GBLs. I got a shiny Onix just now at a nest on my way to the store, and I got a shiny Yamask, which is probably the best, most exciting haul that I've gotten, all within like a little over 24 hours. Anything for you, Ethan, or have you been unlucky or not playing a lot?
I actually did. So this event has made me so happy because I finally have my first ever, not my first ever shiny Pika with the costume, but my first ever shiny Pika with a costume. Like,
Wow.
not the costume, not like, I mean costume in the sense of like a hat and a costume.
Something more.
But this
than
is a costume. Yeah, this is actually like a costume. So this is my first shiny Pika with the costume.
Your first,
and
the Mimikyu one.
Yeah, the Mimikyu, and I'm so happy. I like my first ever shiny hat Pika took. Let me see. I marked it. I think it took like 2,600 encounters or something. 2,676 encounters to get it. So I'm very happy that I have a second one now, and I hope to get a Pikachu in other events that I may have missed in the future. But I did get that, and then I did snag a shiny Spiritomb.
Nice.
So I have the Spiritomb.
That's the one that I've been farming for unsuccessfully, but it's very incompatible with the farm for the 12K eggs because you have to
Right.
spend so many stops to
Exactly. You
that.
either work on one or the other, and I've been working on that. So, and also when I got the shiny Spiritomb, that's when all my GBL luck went downhill. So, so yeah,
Uh-oh.
I think all of it went into that, and I didn't really want that, but
So the headline reads, Shiny
see.
Spiritomb is Harbinger of Doom. Is that pretty much what it
Definitely
is? All right.
agreed.
All right. Where was your holiday, by the way, Dr. Trotter? Is anywhere that Aussies would recognize? Or
I don't do your usual holidays, so
Oh.
I was actually going fishing.
Oh,
I had some
okay.
friends who flew up
Oh, that's
from
cool.
Brisbane, which is about 1,400 kilometers south. You can work that out in miles. And
You're giving us too much credit.
yeah, basically just went like had 2 days fishing in my local town because they're from out of town, and then we went up to a place called Hinchinbrook Island. It's about 100 kilometers north of here, and it's just like, you know, in the scene in Jurassic Park when they come in the helicopter and they're like these mountains with these big trees on them, and you're like, this feels really different.
Yeah.
The place we fished is like, we fished between that island and the mainland, and it's like only a kilometer or so away, and it runs right along the coast. Anyway, there's these big mountains, so they're covered. It's got this really cool prehistoric feel, and like we saw crocodiles, dolphins, caught heaps of fish,
Wow.
turtles. Like it's just really really fun, and like I don't know, I kind of connect with that place.
Wow.
So
That
now
sounds amazing.
I have this little guy who's
You got a
back
little
hanging
guy.
out.
What's going on?
He's supposed to be having a nap now, but obviously plans changed in a way.
We'll rename it Between Two Trotters. Aw.
Yeah.
Hard to get mad at that face. Baby Trotter.
Yeah. You're a dad. You know that's a lie.
It's hard for me to get mad at that face. It may be not hard for you.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. So the first thing that really set me off this week on was it Sunday, or it was Monday that we got the announcement for the community day, right? It was Monday, I think. I had just gotten a chance to play a little bit of Halloween. Maybe the meta had been out for a few hours, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I like this. And I was starting to enjoy Niantic and what they were doing at this moment, and thinking, okay, all right, maybe we're going to trend in a decent direction here. GBLs could be enjoyable. And they dropped that community day update, and I went crazy, ranting, raving about how I don't really see an upside to this as a decision. And I kind of wanted to just get it out there because it was so long. It was going to be almost a whole week till we got to Bellsprouts. But I think it's something that definitely merits some response from the rest of the community. So as somebody who right now, Dr. Trotter says that you were enjoying playing less of the game. You enjoy connecting with a prehistoric place, if you will, and kind of some of the stuff that maybe would have drawn you to this game in the first place. The fact that you could like play it outside, that it has some connection to the real world and all that. How do you feel about the combo community days we're getting with the double expensive community day boxes, with the two moves, two mons that people enjoy well enough, I guess, but they don't really have a lot of Great League play, and there's certainly not a lot of impact from these move changes. About the most excitement we've got is an Electivire making a dent once in a while, but I don't think this is going to change it. So how do you feel about what we're getting this month in just broad strokes?
Yeah, it's nothing that I'm like getting off my chair about. It's just kind of it's another thing. So the biggest thing I noticed with a week off was I came back and a lot happens in a week in Pokemon Go. Like there was a plethora of information that I still haven't caught up on.
Right.
And like there's so much that happens in 1 week. Like it honestly just feels like Niantic are just throwing anything, like they're in a board meeting and everyone's like, hey, what about this idea? Yeah, boom. What about this idea? Yeah, boom. And then there's a classic, like the meme, like the guy's like, hey, how about we fix the bugs? And he just get kicked out the window, you know? Like they're literally just throwing anything they can think of. And like maybe some of it hits the mark with certain audiences. But I like, there's one or two things that have hit the mark with me as purely a PvP player. But yeah, the community day, double community days, I'm like, oh, really? Do I have to do more? I'm quite happy doing the bare minimum. That's where I'm at. I'm happy doing just what I need to do and being able to enjoy the people who play poker and the rest of my life and do things that I want to do. Like poker is still going to be a part of it,
right?
But like it's that classic like addiction thing where it just starts. If you let it start taking over all of those other parts of your life that you enjoy, it's going to be problematic for you. So you need to balance it. And this is coming from someone who was addicted to World of Warcraft. I'm going to say I was addicted to World of Warcraft. I played way too much. I almost failed university because of it. So, you know, Ethan, you think about what you're doing, right?
I tell him this all the time.
And yeah, just like I've learned to balance my life a little bit better. I'm still not good at it. I still get in trouble from Mrs. Trotter all the time, as I should.
As it should be.
But I'm better. And I think we all need to become better at that. And everyone who's just seemingly happy to throw all of their money at this game with those, you know, I know everyone's talking about the paywall thing and that's an old thing, but like there is a point where if as a community we don't all pay for something, they're not going to do that crap again. But the problem is they're relying on the whole FOMO. I don't want to say millennials because technically I'm a millennial, but you know the whole idea of missing out is so ingrained in us, and Niantic are just using that. I don't know. I think we all need to take a step back sometimes and just say no.
Right. I think one of the things that is challenging is that I had that moment on Monday where I was just like, you know, doing what I do, being connected into the community like I am, and, you know, caring about PvP. Most of the time when they give us stuff to pay for, I just kind of do it reflexively. And I think I look at it and I assess it from a standpoint of if this is, you know, your hobby and this is the thing that you really enjoy, then it's not that bad to put X amount of money into it. But like it becomes very hard from my standpoint to look at it as something where I can justify to another person who doesn't do this why they would want to be that invested in it. Like I could make the argument for myself, even though you might start to see phrase at the edges of the argument. But then when I make the argument for somebody else, I'm like, why would anybody want to spend this much money based on what we're getting? But then a couple of other things happen, which is a very casual community, which isn't really plugged into this atmosphere at all. They're not necessarily plugged into the PvP community. They're not plugged into Sylph Road Reddit. They're just kind of out there consuming, and enough of those people consume just based on their love of the mons themselves and has nothing to do with their functionality at all. And so it really starts to feel difficult to send a message as a cohesive unit. And I think it becomes very difficult to actually rally a crew of people who actually feel the same way, because at the end of the day, what it sort of ends up being is a bunch of people kind of simultaneously having an intervention or something where it's just like, look, why are you spending this money? And they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. But like, you know, everybody kind of has to simultaneously confront the fact that these things are bad at the same time for it to have an impact. And if it's not at the same time, then they're just not going to notice, and they're just going to keep doing this. And like I said, for me, it was a very up and down week. I was excited by Halloween, and I was excited by the Switch tray changes. And I was thinking, okay, well, I ranted about how if they're going to take this much money from us, they should at least give us a working, fun Pogo product, or PvP product, because that's what these boxes are aimed at, is the PvP audience. But then I was just like, you know what? It's like everything else that they do, where they do something outrageous and then they do something else to kind of distract from it. It's very similar to kind of real world politics, and just kind of like, if the narrative's not going your way, kind of gin up another issue to distract from it. And it really feels like Niantic is pretty good at doing that. So I would love to be able to garner enough community support for the idea that nobody buys any of these community day boxes. But it feels stupid to be the only one doing it. It really does. What do you think about that kind of dynamic, where it really takes like broad agreement across a group that's not as connected as we'd like to be? Anything?
I was waiting for Ethan. I was like, let him have it.
Okay. Well, it's like, I don't know. Wait, could you repeat that question? Sorry. It's like
so the question I have is, if really getting Niantic's attention requires coordination and focus and a community that's actually cohesive, but we really, almost the nature of the game, this kind of play it the way that you want to play it for PvP, play it for raids, play it for shinies, play it for collecting, play it for whatever. However people play the game is different, and that sort of fractures the community into different segments that are willing or not willing to throw Niantic money for one thing or another. And the breaking up of that community makes it very hard for us to send a unified message. About the best we can do is to somehow, as a PvP community, send a message. And I feel like these community day boxes are maybe the best opportunity to do that, because the elite TMs in those boxes are essentially the draw, and they're very much targeted at us. And so if we really wanted to send a message to Niantic, I feel like the message would be, many top battlers, people in the community, just open letter to Niantic that just says, instead of buying the one elite TM box that we would normally buy each month, we're buying 0 when you're trying to sell us 2. And I'm just curious what you guys think of that idea, or just the difficulty of rallying consensus in this community.
So yeah, I definitely think that it would be good to start with those boxes. I'm never a fan of purchasing the boxes. I do it purely because I have a lot of things to fix personally with my Pokemon, but I feel like I shouldn't have to like rely on those boxes. I feel like the best way is through time and like not buying those boxes, sending a message, and then maybe them like releasing like a quest line or something, like multiple quest lines with elite TMs, or just go off of the GBL TMs. But yeah, I buy them. I'm just gonna say that I buy them, just to put that out there, purely because I have a lot to fix of my of my own. But that being said, I do not condone the use of these boxes and the kind of, like we mentioned, weaponized FOMO to get people to buy the boxes, regardless if they're a collector, if they're a PvPer, if they're like whatever aspect of the game they play. It should not involve having to pay for a box that isn't even that great in all its quantities, and it's just mainly for the TM. If the box was maybe better, like if it actually had redeeming qualities like poffins or things that cost a decent amount in the shop, I would say that the boxes aren't as bad. They're not really a problem, but the boxes right now are not incentivized besides the TM. So they're just purely for the TM pretty much. So I do not think that the implementation of these boxes has been good. I will say that as a community, in any community, really, like any game community, there's always going to be the more casual crowd, and then the more hardcore crowd. And the hardcore crowd doesn't necessarily correlate with the casual crowd, of course, because uh, the casuals usually don't, you know, maybe they spend money on the boxes or whatnot, but usually, the hardcore players are making up a lot of that revenue. Um, and so it's hard to like send a message like that when not everyone's on board. Like we said, we have a split community. All game communities do, and that causes issues for multiple facets of the game, like making be like PvP isn't their top priority, right? So that's why there's still a lot of bugs and things like that, because the game is a collecting game and PvP is just kind of a side product. And that's partly because of the fact that our community is so split, and that's why the PvP community is so tight knit. And we say all the time, it's a small world. We know pretty much everyone, because there's not many people that make it up. So at least in recent times, maybe we've had kind of an insurgence of new players, and I'm hoping that maybe that's the case, because then we'll have less of a divide, and maybe we'll like with figures like Ninja picking up PvP. I think that's huge, because not only is he a prominent figure on Twitch, he's also um, playing this game uh, from that PvP he's playing the PvP aspect of the game, not just like raids or whatnot. So I think that could get a lot of people's attention. I think that maybe, I don't want to give Niantic too much credit, but they could definitely start to be making like footsteps in the right direction of making changes to this new switching mechanic. I mean, that seemed almost out of the blue. I don't know where that came from, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, they might be making some serious changes here in the future. So really excited for that. I think everyone has the right to be excited. And yeah, the whole box thing, like $30 is too much in a month, I feel like, for any casual slash hardcore player even. If you're paying $30 for the game just on a community day, like, that is too much for people that normally don't spend any on raids. Like, I will admit myself, this coronavirus pandemic hasn't been the kindest to my wallet in terms of this game. um, the weaponized FOMO is definitely a real thing. And yeah, that is what I'll say on that. I am not a millennial, but it definitely affects Zoomers as well. So yeah, uh, yeah, that's all I have to say on that. The community is divided, but maybe we'll become more close in the future. There you go.
Yeah, $30 is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I literally, this has to be Niantic doing a test, and if they see that they get less than half the people they used to, if the revenue is different, they're just going to stop. Like, if we can convince half the people who bought the box previously to not do it this time, they won't do it again. They'll put the price back. They're like, well, we're going to get more money. They don't have to. They're not giving us anything. They're literally giving us little packets of data. It's not like I'm getting, a drink, a beer, and a burger. Like, I'm getting nothing for this. It's just the whole FOMO part of the game. So yeah, if we just don't pay that much, and $30 I won't be. That's way too much for an elite TM that realistically isn't going to alter my ability to get into the top 10, top 100, top 200, 500, 10,000, right, whatever it might be for either self rankings or GBL, if that's your thing. And I think that's insane. That's an insane amount, all right? Like, that's like, I don't know how much you guys get an hour. Let's just say my hourly rate is, let's say, $50. That's more than half an hour of working, not including taxes, just to get a digital data thing which lets me make a little monster do a different attack. Like, come on, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it comes down to the very well-worn description that we've probably all seen on Twitter, Reddit, wherever, that essentially Niantic created a problem and they're selling us the solution because they created the problem by making the TM system work the way it does and by having the legacy moves work the way they do, and their solution to the problem costs money, and now they're just trying to like basically double down on that and do it twice as often, same price, and it's just, I really would love to. I don't know what the best step to take would be. I feel like it's something that we almost have to like put out there into the community as a very coordinated effort to tell Niantic to stop, and that we actually feel that way. But coming from a perspective of a person who played this game 100% free to play until, God, I don't even, I think it was the first Go Fest, 100% free to play until then. And then I just bought stuff just to be able to participate in the stuff there, because you could get like Go Fest spawns off Incense even if you didn't have a ticket the next day because of all the craziness that went on. So I was buying stuff, and it was, you know, my kids and I, and we were spending the day in Chicago. We were playing together. There were a whole lot of dynamics that I thought made a lot of sense why this is something that it's worth spending money on. But Community Day was free. Community Day was basically just something that they gave to the community, and now Community Day has become something that's completely different. Community Day has become like their monthly and attempting to make it bi-monthly opportunity to sell us a box and not even offer us much in the way of value. Certainly the fact that they are digital items is definitely something that's not lost on me, that these are just kind of like you said, bits. But I mean, if they're offering you value and they're offering it in a reasonable way, I don't mind that. But if they're offering it in this way, I think it's just absurd, because they're just kind of just trying to come up with subtle ways to move the needle, and it is pretty gross. Can you think of any way that you think would be helpful to try and gain momentum or get community unity on this? Because ultimately you're always going to get just this, it's the FOMO, the weaponized FOMO in a different way. It's the, I'm going to miss out on this thing, whether it's somebody who's coming back to the game who doesn't have all these moves, whether it's somebody who has been in the game and they think that they need these moves, whether they need them or not. You know, a large chunk of people are just going to say, well, I'm going to take every advantage I can get, and they're just going to do it. And how do we speak with one voice?
I think we're gonna need to take it probably to some sort of social media outlet for sure. Like, I mean, I don't know if Twitter. I mean, we all you know what we say about Twitter, but like, if Twitter is good. Or just like promoting it on streams and stuff. That would be probably the best way. But yeah, I think we definitely need to let everyone in on it. If we want to see a change. I'm definitely down to skip out this time for sure, because like $30 is like Netflix. A Netflix subscription through a premium account is like $18. I just looked it up. Like most services like Spotify and stuff, they charge less per month for a subscription than $30. Like $30 is ridiculous. So that's like a that's like a gourmet lunch or a gourmet dinner or something, and you're not even getting a product that works. Like, I'm sorry, that was a hard hit, but like it's kind of true. That's like that's kind of the case here. So yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
If your Netflix didn't work for a month, they'd give you a month or two credit, or even if it didn't work for a week, if your Elite TM doesn't provide you the value you're expecting and you complain to them, they might give you a star piece, or, you know,
or an incense or a charge to
right. They're not going to give you anything that's actually going to equate in that value.
They give you a regular charge TM just to
Right. just to troll you. Sorry that wasn't the move you wanted. You can use this charge TM to put it back the way that you wanted it, trainer.
Yeah, I mean, there was a thing on Twitter I saw today. A guy B has 401. He had his account hacked and deleted, and he's like petitioning to Niantic, and other people are like, "Yeah, man, that happened to me. Like months later, still nothing. They're not doing anything for me. They won't do anything for you. Like, it's just really harsh." And like, something similar happened to me. Not that bad, but I actually had my account hacked, and I deleted my only Elite TM. It was like the first one. And spent like 150k Stardust on powering up Eradicate. And I like every day, as soon as I got a reply from Niantic on the thing, they were like, "We can't do anything for you." I said, "No, you're lying," and just like hammered them. Every single time they said, "We can't do anything for you." I said, "No, you've done it before in the past. You know you've done it before. You've accepted that it was not me that accessed my account. Somebody else has accessed it. And you need to fix this," and did it every single time they replied. Within like 2 minutes, replied straight away. And after like I think it was 2.5 weeks of badgering them, they said, "We will do this once off for you. We will refund you your Elite TM." They didn't give me my Stardust back or anything else, but I was like, well, at least I got my Elite TM back. But like, it was 2.5 weeks of just hassling them without abusing them. I have to be very careful about that. And just eventually I got it back. But like, there are people who've lost their accounts who are never gonna like. This B-Has may not get it back. It's rough.
Right. And so I'm of two minds on these things. I really would like to know the details of what happened with B-Has's account, because I hate for that to happen to anybody, and I do hate the fact that they take sort of this "it's not our problem" kind of approach. But one of the things that I'm familiar with from being involved in TCG, where a lot of these accounts came from, the original Pokemon Trainer Club accounts, if you happen to have one of those, a lot of people got their accounts hacked and had all of their good cards traded away to another account just for nothing, basically. And similar things occurred. And what almost always was the case was somebody with just absolutely atrocious passwords, or somebody who shared their account with somebody, but it was usually the password thing. So I personally have very limited I have limited sympathy on the password issue, because I personally think people need to take passwords more seriously. But I also think that it is gross how many times and ways that Niantic basically takes problems that should be their problem and make them not their problem until people make enough of a fuss about it. So I think it seems pretty obvious that they would be able to have a backup system that would prevent something like that from happening. I would be dubious about an account actually being deleted in the first place. I'm guessing, either something got corrupted or some accounts got cross-linked, whatever. I doubt that it's like entirely deleted. I've never even heard of an account being deleted. So it's probably just a question of getting the right people to look at it. And the other thing is that you also hear stories of people who have their accounts have issues, and those accounts were shared with somebody else. And I know a lot of people have different opinions on the sharing thing. People say, if I share my account with a friend to go catch them on, it's not the same as spoofing. It's not the same if I do that to make a trade with somebody that I otherwise couldn't see to close the geography. I mean, personally, I think that those things are problematic, even though they may not be like linearly on the same level. And if somebody happens to have shared an account and that was the fallout, it really isn't Niantic's fault. So if it's a password or account sharing, it's not their fault, but they should still have a backup. And the fact that they are always so non-responsive is ridiculous. But I don't wish it on anybody. And it's always, one of those wait until it happens to you kind of things, where like, if it happens to you and you think about the amount of money that you've spent on the game, then, it seems serious. And a lot of us who have spent more money than we care to admit on this game certainly would be just devastated if our entire account was wiped out. I mean, basically there's nothing in this game other than your account. There's nothing in this game other than the progress you've made in this account, and people who are willing to start over on their own are few and far between, and it's usually for other reasons. So yeah, I don't know. I do hate to get on their case on something where I don't know the details. That's always the case with me. Like on the surface it looks bad, but I wonder whether there was a password issue there. Let's see. So after that debacle, it was very, very short before they released the 0.191 version on Android, and the corresponding version has finally gone to iOS now. And the biggest thing that is obvious about that is, of course, the Switch menu, the absence of the Switch tray, and just the Switch buttons on the right that have taken its place, and they seem to operate fairly seamlessly and rapidly, certainly compared to what we are used to. As I've said many times before, it looks very suspiciously like exactly the same idea as someone mocked up on the Silph Road or Silph Arena like years ago, or like as soon as PvP came out, basically. And the only difference being the placement of these buttons. So what do you guys think of this change, and is there anything else you're noticing other than just the Switch tray absence? I know Ethan has an opinion on when they released it.
Look, I say I love it.
Yeah.
I've been asking for like removing that ages ago. I think as an Australian player, I really do notice there's a lot of latency of when I tap something and when it goes through, as to even just watching other people like in Europe when they're streaming, like they hit switch and they tap the screen and it's there, and they've done it in like less than a fast move. And I've had times where I've switched, done the exact same thing, tap, tap, like 3 fast moves get thrown in before I can do anything. So this instant change is like, it's great. I love it. Sack swaps are definitely back. I did like some battles with a friend today, and I pulled off 2 sack swaps. I did a Flying Cup tournament last night through Silph, and I think I pulled off at least 1 or 2 sack swaps in that tournament as well. Like it's there, it's great. You can actually tap. So when someone's doing a charge move, if you know exactly which Pokemon you want to go to and where it is on your screen, even though the icon's not there, if you tap it, as soon as the charge move is finished, it will swap for you. You don't have to do it at the start. You can do it like halfway through. It I don't know. It's a bit weird, but it works, and it's good. It's like it allows that instant swap, stops them getting that extra fast move that often comes through. I think it makes the game better.
Right. It reminds me very much of the earlier days where you could pull up the Switch tray with a button that didn't exist early and switch that way. Whereas now it's exactly the same idea. It's just a question of they need to update it so that either those buttons don't disappear or they're in a place where they can be hit without interfering with the rest of the interface. I couldn't agree more. The first blush, any battles I've done with it have been significantly better and smoother. It's different. Anything different takes some time to get used to, and I'll be the first to admit that. But for me, it's definitively better, and it's what we've needed for a long time. I know that Ethan said that he had trouble getting used to it, and that the main problem you had was you don't like that it was introduced in the middle of a GBL season.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. It's just like I don't know. I'm so used to the game not working correctly that that I'm not used to like the seamless swaps. So like I don't know. I always account for like a turn or something. I don't know. It's like weird. I'm always 1 short of a sack swap, and so it never works. And I'm like, oh, I have to repractice that now. And I swear, if they switch it again and we have to account for a turn, I'm gonna be so upset because then I have to do it again. But I do like Trotter brought up a point with the instant swaps, like without seeing the switch tray. I like that a lot. That is something that this is that's something that makes this update awesome, because you can just tap on wherever the
I don't
Pokemon
think
is.
it being invisible is awesome. Just the fact you can do it is awesome.
Right.
I
You
think
know,
you
the
should have
invisible
the
part is
like,
not. Yeah.
yeah, people should have the ability to do that. Like, apart from the people who know about the tricks, um, like everyone should have the ability to do that equally. And
Right. I think it should be visible. Yeah.
I
It's
agree, yeah. But the fact that it's working how the game's supposed to work, kind of finally.
Right.
right.
It reminds me of the line that I always try and draw, and I don't know whether people agree with it, but I feel like there has to be a skill gap in the game, but the skill gap has to be something that is based on your knowledge, and it's not a knowledge of the way the Pokemon work, not your knowledge of the interface. Like the interface and like hidden mechanics in the interface, bad. Hidden like ideas, energy generation and such with regard to your Pokemon, I'm okay with that, having to learn that, but I'm not okay with having to figure out where buttons are, when they come up, when the visuals don't match the interface. It's not the same as like a console game, because literally your interface and the controller are the same thing. It's a touchscreen game, so what you can do should be reflected directly on what you're looking at. It shouldn't be, there should be no discrepancy in my mind. All right, we have got Alyssa coming in. Excellent. Welcome in, Alyssa. As Trotter would say, fresh off holiday. Sorry to have rushed you through, not only to get here, but to get your Battle of the Servers team done. She maybe can't hear me yet still.
She's getting her headset on, I
okay,
think. Yeah.
she's getting prepped. All right. All good. But I'm a fan of the change. And what do you guys think of the placement of the buttons, the hiding of the buttons, the just kind of generally the finer points of how it works? I think we can all agree it's great that they finally brought in a one-tap switch, instantaneous switch system. But in terms of the location of the buttons and the fact that they're hidden, what do you think of that?
The fact that they're hidden is stupid. Like, it's sort of, they're hidden, but they're still active. Come
Right.
on. Like, the button's still there. You just gotta put the graphic over the top, and it'll be fine. The location, I mean, as someone with reasonably fat fingers, I don't mind it. I haven't accidentally switched yet. But I think people who have like some of those edge screens that are like really rounded and stuff, and you kind of hold your screen and you might accidentally tap it, it could be an issue. I think it's just going to take time to adjust. It's like you said, like it's not a skill based, like it's a new skill we're going to have to adjust to. It's a new nuance, but like the actual mechanics of the game seem to be working better than ever before. So I'm not going to complain that I have to, instead of holding my screen like this, hold it like this, or move my hand a little bit. Like I can adjust that, right? I'm an adult.
Yeah, it is. I've made a couple of incorrect swaps. I feel like there's a little bit of weirdness going on with the location of the buttons and the shifting of the buttons. I would have to actually go through a video to see how it works, but it's like as soon as you press the button, the switch is so fast that I think the mon that you switched out appears in the button before the mon that you switched in even appears on the screen. So like that kind of creates that weird anxiety where you're like, did I press the right button? And then when one of them is dead, the button on the bottom is gone. It's always the button on top, I think. I don't think it matters which location they were in or not. So just trying to keep track of where those are is probably the hardest thing. What do you think would be the best solution, Ethan? Do you think like a semi transparent button that came back into full view after the charge move would work, just so you never completely lose sight of them. You know they're there, but you don't distract from the charge move animation or get the idea that they're active.
Transparency is good. I know that people are like taking nail polish and putting it on their phone cases.
I did see that.
But yeah, that's interesting. But something to just mark that, you know, there's a Pokemon here and there's a Pokemon there. That way you know which side to tap on would be good, because I know at least like um Super Sai Sensei, who's streaming right now, he taps on his right side of his screen, and he's used to tapping over there. So if like sometimes he'll tap on a Pokemon and and he won't want to switch it in, and then it comes out, and he's like, "Uh-oh, well, that's okay." Yeah. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's I feel like it's a good place to put the swaps, but it's still kind of awkward because I know like a lot of people probably tap in that position. So maybe at least have
I think
definitely. Yeah.
the left-handed community is like loving it.
Right.
Yeah, the
I
left-handed
think
community is
so.
loving it. Yeah. No, but like, does anyone actually tap, like, I'm trying to think of like phone real estate, right? Does anyone actually tap in like, unless your name is Scientist E, does anyone actually tap like on the trainer or like in the top area of the battle screen? I don't think anyone really taps it like mid top right. I don't think that's some real estate, that's some free real estate right there, and it's not being taken up, you know?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe something transparent up there would be nice, because at least it's not like this awkward thing where you're trying to avoid the right side now, where you're like hugging the left, or like just trying to tap in the middle and not tap on the right. I don't know. It's nice, but it's just kind of like it comes down to personal preference, for sure. So um I know for me, it's like right now I'm just trying to mentally get used to the fact that I'm gonna be avoiding the right side of my screen for the most part. So, yeah.
Yeah, as somebody who can be very lazy when doing my GBLs, especially if I stream them as I have the last few days, and somebody who just will often just casually do rocket battles, I definitely am aware of the fact that if you try and do PvP one-handed as a right-hander, you will definitely make more mistakes because your thumb is just not like necessarily super precise.
Right.
And,
That being said, I do recommend tapping. What I like to do is tap on the trainer's head. That is my favorite place to tap on the
tip.
screen. I think it's like, huh?
Pro tip.
Yeah, it's a pro tip. You just tap, you smash their head in, and then hope that you win the game. That's so I tap on the trader's head, and there's like really there's like nothing up there. So it's like it's definitely free real estate, like I'm saying. So maybe if they moved the buttons up there and made them transparent, you know, that would be cool. But for right now, we're like either hugging the left side or like making sure we tap the middle, or you could always tap on the trainer's head. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think left-handers probably like this update even more than everyone else, but
Yeah.
I it's such an improvement. What do you think, Trotter, in terms of the proper way to handle it? Do you think transparent, don't even bother to change them at all, just leave them there the whole time, or what do you think the right solution to make this all the way right is?
I mean, I don't think there is a right solution, right? Everyone's going to be complaining about something. It's the internet. Someone's going to complain. There's nothing you can do about that. One thing I would like to see personally implemented is the transparency on the switch time. It's kind of like, I'm vision impaired, obviously.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit like if you're playing like in sunlight, like because in the nighttime your phone's really bright, it's great, but in
Right.
daylight sometimes it's quite hard to see where your switch time is at. And there've been a few times I've been like literally put my phone up to my face because I just can't see it. So
I agree with that
maybe a little bit of
wholeheartedly.
difference in that,
Yeah,
would be
I
better.
agree with
But
that wholeheartedly. The I really do like the fact that the switch timer and the buttons are integrated together. The fact that they don't waste the real estate, but it does seem like the transparency is just so high that if you aren't looking closely enough, you might miss the fact that that's even there. But it's a very cool implementation. I personally would advocate toward top of the screen, and I'm not really sure why they didn't go that way, aside from trying to avoid people accidentally quitting the battle, and I think they could still avoid that. I think 2 in the top right instead of 2 on the bottom right would be a better placement to me, and just never take them off the screen.
Yeah.
Or
I think the advantage of that, sorry, Jim.
yeah, no,
The
go
advantage of
ahead.
that is most of us hold our phones from the bottom, right? We're not
Right.
holding like the top of the phone and then tapping down here. We hold it from the bottom, so
Right.
there's less chance that your other hand, if you happen to be a two-handed player, will bump it or cause something else. It's free up the top, like it's free real estate. There's no chance of anything being
It's
hit
free.
unless you have a crazy child who comes and whack it.
It sounds like someone who doesn't speak from any personal experience on that count. No.
No, never.
It's for sure free real estate for sure.
Yeah. So Niantic top, especially top right, because I know
Mhm.
that the exit is on the top left, and if you don't want to move that, then you've already made the decision they're going to be on the right. Let's just go top while we're at it. Top, change the transparency, done deal. We're all happy. Have you guys noticed any other changes in the game in terms of what it means either strategically or just how the game functions because the swaps are so instantaneous? There's the obvious just I have to get used to it angle, but do you think that there's anything different in anything other than just being able to execute sack swaps, if you will, which I think is huge? Does it just seem same old to you, Ethan?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, I already voiced this. Like in terms of sack swaps, it's definitely a lot more fluid now. So I just have to like get back on track with counts and stuff. I think I just need to go instead. I just need to I need a +1, but yeah. It's definitely super instant, and it's just yeah. Because like before, didn't it take? I swear it took a turn or like a half a turn or something to switch, and it was just like ridiculous. So yeah.
My
But
understanding after having a conversation on stream earlier this week with Mr. Dr. Pants was something to the effect that in actuality the switch does not occupy a turn, it just visually takes a turn. That it doesn't take a
right,
turn.
no,
I disagree with that.
right, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that either. But
Yeah, there have been so many times where like literally like two same Pokemon, both on 1 HP, you knock their other one out. You both come in same mon, same HP. The mon that comes in always dies. Like that's happened multiple times to me,
true.
like all the time. And I've won matches because they brought in a mon with 1 HP, it's died. They brought in another mon with 1 HP, and it died as well.
right.
Like the switch, I'm convinced 100% switching takes at least one turn, maybe half turn, or
Yeah.
but whoever switches, their fast move may not. It may go in the same time, but the one that's already in there, their fast damage definitely goes off first, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's I don't understand the mechanics well enough to speak on it, but I mean, a lot of the things that were part of the conversation Mr. Dr. Pants and I were having was something to the effect of a lot of the times the insta dies are triggered by just fast move damage transferring to the mon that's switching in, or the mon that's switching in having like just literally 1 HP and getting the fast move registering on it. But yeah, I don't play enough to notice the like absolute certainties of such things. You certainly remember the times when such things like that happen, and you're just like, I don't really know how to explain it, but maybe somebody can.
Yeah.
See, it's fine if the damage registers on that next Pokemon. I have no issue with that.
Right.
But that Pokemon, if it's getting damage registered to it, it should have equally the ability to damage a fast move back if they're the same like turn fast move. You know, if it's a 1 turn and then it's maybe different, 1 turn versus a 3 turn. But if they're both 2 turn moves, it should be equal, right?
Right. I would agree.
Make moves equal. Equality for move.
We won't be able to get a hashtag going for not buying elite TMs, but you'll be able to get a hashtag going for make moves equal, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, equality for turns for sure.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Do you think that this change is enough to bring back maybe some of the excitement that we've seen in some shoutcasts in the past? I think a lot of people have said that, whatever the production level was, which has clearly been increasing on the shoutcasts and the like, that we haven't really been able to see anything like the King and Zionic or Jimma and such back when like sack swaps would occur, and like it would just be so fast and so on point that people could actually get excited about it. I just, even when I do execute a sack swap, it's kind of like that, you do it, there's a moment to realize you've done it, then it actually happens and you're like, okay, that was good, as opposed to just kind of like that boom, and you just like fly out of your seat kind of excitement.
I'm always flying out of my seat if I land a sack swap. There's like this top's going hard. I'm like loving it. So
there will definitely be many more to celebrate, if nothing else. All right. And there were a lot of other changes in the update that probably aren't really PvP specific. There were a lot of search changes. The one thing that you can do that's PvP specific that I think most people will enjoy is the fact that you can search by move names, I believe, on the team selection screen, which I don't think you could do before because people were picking the wrong mons, something to that effect. Was that the change? I'll have to look it up.
Are you talking about like when you long hold it and it pops up a little menu of what moves are in there?
Oh, there you go. It's the preview. It's not the search. And Alyssa is here. All right. Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining us. Sorry.
I've been here for a little bit. I know you can't see.
I tried to speak when you first came on and you weren't there, so I didn't want to say anything until you piped in.
Oh, I had to get like all plugged in.
Welcome back from holiday, as I said in Aussie speak. Hope that it was enjoyable. But yeah, that is right. So what is it? You long hold and you get a preview of the moves.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I feel like I haven't really done it. I just know it sounded useful, but it's not something I've actually done. So maybe I'll demonstrate it in just a moment. Were any of the other updates that were in this, other than the Switch tray, PvP relevant? And you can feel free to you can chime in on the Switch tray, Alyssa, before we get too crazy.
I haven't actually battled with it. I don't know if I just don't have it yet, or if I just didn't do any GBL today or yesterday because I was so busy.
I'm guessing it's a combo.
Right now.
I'm guessing it's a combination of iPhone got it later, you were elsewhere, and maybe didn't download it. And
yeah, I had literally like no service at all. I had to go across to my mother-in-law's to get Wi-Fi at all because they don't even have Wi-Fi where I was at.
All right, so maybe we'll see your live reaction. It'll be like the YouTube videos. It'll be PvP tournament organizer reacts to new Switch mechanic, and we can post.
I can't imagine it would affect me all that much because it's not where I tap. I hold my phone by like the back of my phone or the pop socket.
Yeah.
And I tap with my pointer finger in the middle center. So I think it's going to be fine for me. Yeah. Sorry for everyone who taps on the side.
No, I love it. I think it's just it just seems odd where where they put it. But
so I don't have it. I'm doing a GBL battle right now, and it's definitely not. So I don't know if I need to manually update or
get in that Apple Store or whatever you guys have on iOS. Or wait, did you switch you switched to iOS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it wasn't a push update. I had to go into the Pogo Play Store and tick update for it to do it for me. So
I will check that out as soon as this battle is over.
Oh, all right. Let's see. So as far as since Alyssa is here, we can say that we've been trying to prepare with almost no full-on coordination for Go Team Up for the Bellsprout team. Alyssa has been on vacation, and Country Nerd, I don't know whether he's
okay, but I was the second one to register my team, so yeah.
But she's not bitter, right?
No, I'm not. I did what I had to do. I woke up early. I went and found Wi-Fi to do this. I feel like I put my best foot forward for this.
Well done.
You definitely did.
I'm gonna ping
slapped
Country
a team
Nerd
together.
right now.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the team.
Right? No, we won't. We don't have to talk about the teams. You guys can make fun of my team later because I've already shared that I have a Shadow Flygon, which is just ridiculous.
Definitely wasn't as fun as last time when we worked together to build our teams.
Right. I think that, part of that was just that we let it sneak up on us, and part of it was just that I didn't foresee that you weren't going to be here, so we couldn't do it as a group. It will definitely, hopefully we can make this still a fun group experience moving forward. I will dig for any other updates. But that is supposed to start ASAP, and I need to ping Country Nerd to make sure that he is doing what he needs to do, because I still don't see his team. Team Bellsprouts.
He's getting it done. So
he is getting it done? Or you're pinging him?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well done, Ethan. Well done.
I did it.
Did Alyssa? Did you have anything to go back and maybe you were saying it in the chat what you felt about the double community day situation?
I am of the opinion that they can't make me buy their second box, and I'm not going to, but I still think they're greedy and shitty for lining their pockets on this kind of a thing. Right.
And I assume you're not too excited by the particular mons. There's nothing.
No, yeah, they're really sad. I don't know if I'll play the whole community day for both of those, because that's a lot of time to give up from 2 weekends of 1 month. I won my GBL battle. Yay. That felt good. It's been a while.
We're going to get a live reaction once you get that update. I feel like it's coming.
I'm looking for it. I'm going.
All right.
I did have a friend tell me he was battling for a shared win of the last Sunrise that I just did, and he would have won, but he had just gotten the Switch update and it messed him up so badly. And it just kept making switches he wasn't intending. So felt bad about that.
Yeah. I think
that's my only opinion of it so far.
I think anytime there's a version mismatch too, you have issues where, some people, obviously Android got it first and some people didn't get it at the same time. So I didn't really love the dynamic going into the end of Sunrise as I was trying to get in a weighted that didn't happen, and knowing that people were on different versions of it, had gotten used to it to different degrees, and I don't know. One thing I would really love to see, and I know it's not going to happen, is for the PvP game itself to kind of be like its own program, kind of like on your phone, how Facebook and Messenger are two different things that obviously hook into the same back end. I would love to see PvP be a separate game, so you could update your regular Pogo game without fear of what was going to happen, and then the PvP version could be like a solid version that we could all rely on. And it would be like, if you were playing Sylph, you could say, well, everybody who's playing should be on version whatever for this month, and you just don't change it until a certain event is over. But unfortunately, with the lack of coordination between Niantic and Sylph and anything else, that's not going to happen. And they clearly don't care about the GBL aspect of it, as Ethan pointed out, that they were willing to change this in the middle of the season.
Oh, wow. That shoots it right out there, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's her live reaction. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It shoots it right out. It certainly does. It is very, very quick.
Lightning fast. Yeah. That's why people are upset. Now you can see why.
People are upset by lightning fast responses, yes.
Because they're tapping. Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't do that. I wish that it was less subtle, the timer.
Right. Yeah, that was what the amount of transparency kind of on the exactly. Yeah. All right, Niantic, if you're listening, we have unanimity on that. Make it darker. Make it less transparent. And they've had that situation before where they had the rings on the charge moves, the meters on the charge moves, the bars, and so many different things that they've done specifically for visibility that I would think that they will hear enough of that from the community that they will change it. I guess the part that we didn't mention that was talked about a little bit in chat is the fact that you have the preview of the health of your Mon in the Switch box as well, so you don't have to entirely remember how much health your Mon had.
I think that takes a certain level of skill out of the game, though.
Right.
I think there was something to managing your health and your energy that it's kind of like a little cheat.
Yeah, I think
I'm grateful for it. I have a crap memory. I'm just saying, for those of us who don't.
Yeah, most of the time I forget what's in the front, like right after it's gone. So that's yeah. I can attest to that.
When I'm really into it, when I'm really feeling it, and I'm like managing energy really well. It's great. But those times when you're just battling, you're not really caring about how it goes or what happens.
Exactly.
You're like, oh crap. They had, I think it was like a blue Pokemon first, so maybe it's a water.
Yeah, if it's something like Sylph and you're taking it seriously, then it's like definitely like a level of skill is kind of gone. But like for most people, I feel like GBL is like the standard and it's casual, so they have the health there just because it's like that. So, and people are terrible with they're really good at short-term memory. Yeah.
All right, so that's always a discussion that's had. That was the discussion when the typings got put in the top right, and people were saying that people who don't know the typings should have to learn, or that it takes skill out of it if you don't know the typings. So we've added that. We've added the health bars. And I'm trying to think what else we've added that would go along those lines. It seems like Niantic is leaning in the direction of just providing more information now. Would you have them go all the way on that, Alyssa? Would you allow them, or would you think it was okay if they had another bar that showed you how much energy you had left, or do you think that would just be like completely atrocious?
I don't think it would bother me one way or the other. I can see how that would be helpful, and I'm sure there are situations where I would enjoy having that. But like I said before, I think there's something to be said for being able to manage your energy and really remember what you've got left on what. So it would be an adjustment. Whatever. I'm just here for it.
I was just gonna say, I think like the typing's top right. Honestly, like it takes skill away, but it also puts in skill. Like it's an increase in skill too, because you have to be on top of because there's some like the game doesn't work correctly still, right? And so in some circumstances, I don't know if everyone in chat knows this, but in GBL games, right before the game starts, sometimes the screen flashes white and you can peek in the top right and see what the lead is just off the typings. Like you can see what the two typings are that's coming in at you. So, and like with switch-ins and stuff, as soon as you see someone throw out another Pokeball, you're looking top right. That's where you
Mhm.
should be looking. And you can make those lightning fast reactions just by looking top right when you see that animation. So, like, I don't know, it increases skill, but also takes away from the fact that, obviously, like, it used to be hidden. Um, and yeah, so I mean, it's all available in the main series too. Someone in chat brought that up just now. So it's not like people in the main series have to remember typings and stuff. Like, that's all visible in the games too. So um, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily hidden there either. But I remember, like, back when PvP was first a thing, like, energy management used to be huge for, like, remembering things. Like, if you went over, then you had to, like, actually account for going over, and, like, that little thing that fills up now that you have on the bubble, you used to have to do that mentally, and it's like keeping track of all that is definitely definitely a bit of thinking and management, and something that I've become significantly worse at as I've started to pay less and less attention to this game. But yeah. Yeah.
What do you think the right balance to strike in the final assessment is, in terms of, does it? I don't know what's shown in the main series games, but like I was saying, the energy that you've stored up, and the question to me is, if you can see your own mon's health and or energy, maybe, does it make sense you shouldn't see your opponents somehow? Like, should that be hidden information? Why would one be treated differently than the other, I guess? Just,
I mean, I think you can see your own stuff is fine, but like if we're getting to that point, why can't we just, as soon as the battle starts, we see the other two Pokemon in the back, and we'll just strategize the whole time? Like, there's going to be some sort of mystery to the game, doesn't there?
You you know, it would be really interesting if, like, like, there were, like, two Pokeballs on the top of the screen that were your enemy's Pokemon, and, like, and it showed, like, the silhouette of the Pokemon, and you would have to, like,
play who's that
determine what the
Pokemon?
silhouette, like, who's that Pokemon that's in the back that's gonna destroy me. Yeah, that would be interesting, but I don't think they'll never do that. But it could be like I mean, honestly, like, I know we've been asking for a show 3, and that could be a way that they do it, by just having, like, the silhouettes of their Pokemon in the top. They could just do that. Like, that would be interesting, and then when it comes out, it fills in the silhouette. I don't know. Or they could just straight up show the Pokemon. But, like, if they were to do show 3, they could either do it that way, or they could do it, like, through the entry screen. But I think that a lot of people, there's some pushback there because that takes time. But I'm honestly, like, I'm so casual now that I don't really care if it's like taking me time to do GBLs. I'll let it take time. It's whatever. Like, I really am in no rush. But yeah.
I don't know that I would want to know my opponent's
But
backline. I think it's
yeah,
part
that
of the
also takes
fun.
skill. Yeah. Mhm.
Like, it's part of the fun for me to try to figure out, like, what's gonna come out.
Exactly. I like that too. I like the hidden aspect of it. Um, and if they were to put it in, like, so be it. At least the silhouette is kind of cool, because then you can, like, guess what it is, type
Mhm.
of deal. But yeah, I think that takes away some things for sure.
I've always advocated for the idea that they don't show the Pokemon, but they show the ball that they were caught in, so that people can play some sort of games with that, in terms of trying to, either give away or hold back any amount of information with regard to whether it's, caught in a regular ball, a great ball, an ultra ball, a premier ball, and so forth. And then you have the people who are just, I don't know if you've heard of the traders, who would just be like, they'll only trade for mons that are caught in regular Pokeballs, that sort of thing. And you could have that sort of weird dynamic where they're able to hide information in that way. But I don't know, that probably wouldn't really be a super engaging dynamic.
I feel like that's doing too much. Like
Yeah.
the only thing I catch in regular balls are things that my gacha is catching. Like everything else is getting an ultra ball or a great ball just because that's what I have.
That would be like a quality of life that isn't really what we ask for.
Be like,
So
if
it's probably
we
something we're
get
gonna
that, we're
get.
gonna blame you, Jiggly.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, that's probably
Niantic, if
something
you are
we're gonna-
listening, I'm the only one who wants that. Don't give it to us, okay?
Don't. That's bad.
Oh, I'm gonna guess based on the fact that I've been speaking to Ethan and Trotter and Alyssa have both been out of town, that none of us have done an actual Marsh Cup. Is that fair to say that nobody did a day one?
No, but I listened to some YouTube videos on my drive home. So that's something.
I couldn't make world number one now, so I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do a day one.
Oh,
That's fair.
So have you guys? I haven't. I really didn't allow myself to follow kind of the way the meta is developing, just due to the fact that I was trying to finish up Sunrise and actually get something out of it. What have you guys heard or seen in terms of what people are thinking of bringing to the Marsh Cup?
I know PvP Steve is a massive Whimsicott fan, and to be fair, I did some battles with him, and he put a YouTube video up, and now I'm salty about it because I got wrecked by Whimsicott, so I didn't really have a proper counter for it. But yeah, I mean, I really feel it's like so similar to Halloween with a few slight nuances and differences. That yeah, I don't know. Everything feels familiar at the very least.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess once again that's the same sort of question to ask as the skill versus information thing. It's like the casual versus hardcore. Like, do we want metas that require us to build a lot of wild stuff that only devoted people are going to do, or do we want metas that are going to draw in a more casual audience that has built mons for one reason or another, and they have stuff where they can compete without thinking too hard? I tend to gravitate toward the former, but I know that you need to bring people in as well.
Personally, for the 6 that I've picked for my preliminary 6, I haven't had to power anything up, but I've been PvPing for a long time, so like I have a Crossle. I've got a Crossle
Right.
ready to go. You know, I have Galvantula. I mean, if you want to go Azzy, you can. I've got Swampert, I've got Ferrothorn, I've got AWAC. I've got all of those Pokemon ready to go. Any new player who wants to get into Sylph, there's still going to be a Stardust ball there for them, and it's going to be tough. We all have to do it along the way at the start. It's just that we don't have to now, and other people, if they want to get into it, they are going to have to make those commitments. And it's tough. Like how much at the end of season 1 were we all, or season 2, complaining about Stardust? And we're doing it less so now because we can just farm GBLs and get an extra 20k or so a day. But it's not easy, right? You got to grind. You do have to grind for it.
Right. Yeah. It's a different kind of grind now. It's a digital. It's a finger grind instead of an actual like get out and do something kind of grind. Speaking to the fact that it's very similar to Halloween, Sableye with return figuring prominently toward the top of the meta, not necessarily indispensable, but like I said, I haven't followed all of the developments. How do you feel about that in terms of drawing parallels to previous metas where people often liked them or didn't like them based on things like whether they had a Tropius or a Last Resort Umbreon? I mean, it's very much kind of the Last Resort Umbreon sort of dynamic where a Sableye without return really lacks a certain dimension that one with return has, just like an Umbreon with mono-type moves does.
I don't think that's nearly as hard to get as a Last Resort Umbreon. So I'm not sure it's quite the same for me.
I don't have a return Sableye. I'm just running my shiny one that I took to Worlds Season 1, so I'm okay with that.
You're riding the horse that brought you. You don't care.
Yeah. best buddied shiny. It's not. It's like ranked 22 or something. Like it's not even perfect stats, but it's done. I'm doing it.
Nice.
I don't have any Sableyes. I've been handicapped this entire time. No, okay. No, but like seriously, like I don't know. I think I got a perfect like a year ago, and I just never powered it up. And then the Litwick one came out, and I'm like, I'm still not gonna power the Hundo up because I want the Hundo Litwick. But yeah, their return. I grinded really hard on GoFest. I'm sure we all did, but like, nope, terrible.
Yeah. I think the fact that getting a good one, where a good one actually means high IVs, unlike in other cases where you can make up for it by just being satisfied with the whatever IVs you get. It's one, you need a pretty good one. I mean, the rank 23 you speak of is probably lower than I've heard of too many people running, but it definitely you probably couldn't go too much lower than that, and even that would be difficult to obtain through a rocket stop directly, because you're almost never going to have a weather boosted Sableye just due to its typings, because you have to rely on the relatively uncommon fog weather, and they're just so uncommon in the first place. That's why lucky trading them is such a thing. In this day and age, or this atmosphere, I just think it's a very difficult thing to stumble on. I've already spoken on this before, and I've griped about it. So, speaking of Sableye, speaking of Alyssa coming on, and we haven't heard about her week. I know that even though I had a lot of shiny luck, the one shiny I really do want that has eluded me is the shiny Litwick head Sableye. Has anybody on the panel managed to snag one of those, or are we all?
No.
We're all empty on that.
Nope.
It's sad. I mean, I feel like it's such a good shiny. I'm gonna really miss out if I don't have that. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna do anything with it because there's no way I'm building a Litwick candle Sableye when Return Sableye is a thing.
I'm building it.
Of course you are.
I'm building it.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
On the Marsh Cup, as I think I alluded to a little bit before, Alyssa and I are both involved in trying to put together megas for this month. Is yours earlier than ours, Alyssa, in the South? Is your region doing yours this upcoming
No,
week?
I think no.
Okay.
We're doing it on the 14th.
Okay, we're both doing it on the 14th. So if you are interested in doing one and you are in the U.S., then there's a region for you. If you are so lucky to be in the South, you can be under the auspices of Alyssa and her ARPVP clan. And if you are in the Midwest, you can be with us. If you're in the East, you can be with True Blissey. And if you are in the West, you will be with Sosa Flow. Let's see. Did somebody try to come in? I thought I saw somebody join. Was that a message?
It was a message.
Okay.
Trying to do it on the sly here.
All right. So that's probably the biggest plans I have going for the Marsh Cup, and we need to do promotion on that. But other than that, I really haven't given the guts of it a whole lot of thought. So if nobody else has anything else on it, then I think that we'll have plenty of time to talk about the way it develops in future weeks. I know Ethan posted kind of the usage data. I think YTX has posted something on Twitter as well. Is the data from Sylph what YTX provides essentially, or are these two different things?
I assume it must be because it's got like the gold and silver and stuff, but
yeah, they're probably correlated. I've never asked, to be honest, but yeah.
I just didn't know if it merited looking at the two. So Amok, AWAC, Swampert, Galvantula, Ferrothorn, and Shiftry. And without revealing any Encrustle, without revealing any of what you're going to run in Battle of the Servers, how does an AWAC aficionado like yourself feel about Shadowbone right now, Alyssa?
I think you mean go team up.
Oh, go team. I'm sorry.
Last
I'm
I
sorry.
checked, I have not
I'm
planned a
sorry.
Battle of the Servers for
I'm
this
sorry.
month. That's okay. I think anything I would say would absolutely give away
It would
what
give
I'm
it
going
away.
to run.
Okay. All right.
Definitely.
All right. So her answer will be withheld for fear of divulging her moves. What about you, Ethan? I know that you got at least a few, but what do you think about its actual relevance and what we're going to see as the predominant move? I think we're going to see both. Or, do you have any thoughts?
I think that Trotter made a great point by saying that Shadow Ball is just better, but like there is the originally we were thinking, oh wow, it's a rock slide, drill run, like sky attack, all those moves clone with the debuff, like it's gonna be real nice. But in a lot of matchups, it just kind of falls short just a little bit. I don't know. It definitely does damage, and you get the defense drops sometimes, like 20%. So it's nice, but I don't know. Shadow Ball's pretty good too. I feel like you just definitely you want both, but generally I feel like Shadow Ball is good. But that's me, so I don't reflect anyone on the panel. So yeah, cool.
I'll ask the question this way, Alyssa, that I think I can elicit an answer from you without giving anything away. As somebody who uses AWAC, a mon that has been relevant for quite a while, but has gotten multiple moveset buffs, additions, whatever, does the fact that it now has more possibilities and the fact that does that mean that you feel better about running it, or does the fact that now it's gotten more hype mean that you feel like more people are going to be ready for it?
I think that there's less predictability to other people's Marowaks now. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to be so for sure with what the counts are. For me, I've been known to swap fast moves. Like sometimes it'll be Hex and sometimes it won't. Just depends. And as far as Shadow Ball goes, I really love Shadow Ball. It would take a lot for me to swap away from that. Bone Club kind of sucks, but sometimes you just need it. So we'll see what I do. I know what I did, and I guess the Ghost Stadium people know what I did. And you guys know what I did, I think.
Oh, I suppose I could look and see what you did, but I won't. Okay, and I see from Endun's message that Country Nerd is we're set to go. I can breathe a sigh of relief, and Alyssa can breathe easy knowing that her efforts putting in a team were not for naught. Team Bellsprouts.
Oh man, I was so close. I don't get ragey often, but I'm sure you saw my message where it was like peppered with curse words. That was probably the most bad words I've said in one paragraph in a while. Yeah.
I can only imagine trying to do that under the circumstances you were in, and I appreciate.
And then when they tagged me and said it still wasn't right, like, I don't know if you saw my comment. It was probably more terse than it needed to be. So sorry, guys.
I think I missed that part. There's nothing you can do to ruin your image in my book. So
we can get there. Yeah.
All right. Stay tuned as Alyssa sets fire to Jiggly's house tomorrow.
No. Sometimes you just need like gentle, constructive criticism. Is all.
It's pretty gentle. I agree.
It wasn't that bad. Like I could have.
Yeah, no, it was gentle. No,
It was just really frustrating. I don't know if anybody else had the same problems I had, but it was.
I straight up did not know where to put the team, so I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't know where to put my team in.
I know this is their first go at it, and I'm confident that going forward it will be a little bit more user friendly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think I would say that the best way I can put it is that Ghost Stadium went a long way to try and give themselves a nicer, newer, fancier website. Mm-hmm. And while it does a lot, I think that it doesn't. The way it works right now is not particularly well suited to the purpose of inputting teams. It does a lot of things, and that's probably why it was a little bit clunky. But I'm sure that they will get plenty of input, and if nothing else, I think just the amount of work that poor Endon has to do on the back end trying to coax people through the process will probably encourage them to refine that further. But in any case, I am looking forward to it, despite the fact that that unfortunately our start at team building has been more stress than fun. But I'm confident that we Bellsprouts can pull it out of the fire. All right, you put the Sylph leaderboard on the outline, scientist.
Mm-hmm.
What did you note from the? Oh man, Dylan! Holy cow!
Yeah.
Wow.
So Aiden, who comes into our tournaments all the time, Hot Pocket 777 is number 1 in the world right now. Like right now, if you go check the leaderboard, he's number 1 in the world. 14-year-old, get wrecked, all of us. Yeah. And
I remember the first time he beat me. It was a great time.
Yeah. 14-year-old. So, or maybe 15 now. I'm not sure. 14, 15. But yeah, he's number 1. And then we got Dre Flames, who came on here recently. Happy birthday, Endon. By the way, is that just is that that's a joke.
I feel
you guys
like that's an
baited me.
inside joke.
That's a joke. Actually, I do know that joke. Never mind. Happy birthday, though, Endon. So yeah, so Dre Flames is number 2, and then we got Dylan.
Wow.
I practiced with Dylan a lot. And yeah, he made it to. He was actually number 1 in the world last night. So yeah, and then I think it was Ache. Was that his name? Ache. Yeah, he did a tournament and then he took the number 1 spot. So I do scrim with both Aiden and Dylan. They're both up there. That's insane. And then we have Ventuski, who came on here. Is awesome guy. Came on the show. He's number 9. And we have Jarunha, I think, or Harunha. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but
I thought you were mispronouncing Jarumba, but yeah, I see that it is exactly how you.
Harunha or Jarunha. He's from Cali. Excellent battler as well. I fought him in the tournament that I last did that I did terribly in. So yeah, he's a great battler. Yeah, absolutely swept me. Where's Angelino and Caleb are there, like right next to each other, and then Dunebug, and then these are all obviously like all the names I recognize. Like Dudley's on there from Cali, and then Harley Boys. Yeah, those are the names I recognize. I don't know if you guys recognize any others, but yeah, those are the ones.
Well, it looks like some of the issues that were brought up last week in terms of people getting to the top with some pretty strange records don't seem to be quite the issue. Dylan is a little bit of an outlier, I will say, with the 75 battles and the 64% win rate, but obviously there still seems to be a focus on both win totals maybe, and I'm presuming that they did well in their weighted. I think Hot Pocket swept theirs, right?
Yeah, he did.
A day. It was 6-0. Oh. Lord Helix one, and I thought about doing it, and then I saw everyone registered, and I was like, nope.
Yeah,
it would have been on my phone.
I feel like I've relayed this enough on streams already that maybe people already realize this. At least last night I said that I did my last minute attempt at a weighted, and I got my first round against Toshi, and I was just like, ugh. And then in the first match, the only reason that I lost was because I missed a bubble on my Articuno's Hurricane on his AWAC, and otherwise I would have at least gotten the first and maybe been able to carry that Jiggly momentum, but instead I went down in Jiggly Flames, and Oof, that was something else.
Jiggly flames are probably better than scientist flames. So much more tame, much more controlled. Yeah.
Oh, these days they are. I used to take these things a lot more seriously. I can teach you the ways of not caring.
I actually need like a life coach on not caring. So if you guys are really good at not caring,
Same. No, I care so much.
yeah, I just need genuine tips on not caring about anything. And
You can't get them from me. I cried real
Yeah.
tears over a tournament a couple weeks ago.
like,
It was
yeah,
bad.
honestly, like I hate that about myself.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like not a good quality. But I guess it's good in some senses because like it forces me to do things. So that's the only good thing about it. Yeah. Like schoolwork. Otherwise, I wouldn't care about schoolwork and I would just play Pokemon Go all day. But I care too much. Yeah. So that's the
Oh.
only redeeming quality. Yeah.
Oh dear.
But yeah, that's the leaderboard.
All right. Now, I feel like we spoke last week, I think, pretty extensively about the sponsored events and how Niantic was handling them. My recollection is that Alyssa, you're not doing the Verizon one. You don't have Verizon, something like that.
Right. Yep.
And you're not doing Grubhub either.
No, I don't like the baiting you into signing up for something that you're probably going to forget to unsign up for and getting charged for thing. That's
Right.
not for me, so they can keep that.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Yeah, I agree.
I think the good news with regard to that is I really don't think that there's anything that we as a PvP community will really miss out on that unless somehow you didn't have a decent Ferrothorn or Mawile, which I think most people have by now, at least one decent one, but maybe I'm wrong.
And Shadow is better in most circumstances for Mawile, at least, right?
It's definitely was put in vogue by PokeAK, and I think at the time when I got a good one, I ran the Sims and was, at least in terms of the Sims, I was surprised that it was not as big a difference as one would expect. My guess is that most of the difference comes into playstyle and the Shadow stacked on top of the generally hard-hitting fast moves that Mawile has on top of Power Up Punch just probably creates more anxiety on the part of your opponent. So if they are not...
And frustration.
Right, and frustration. And
ironically.
you can't TM it away. And so I feel like it's more of a nuance that is not mathematical, or if it is mathematical, it's not visible in the Sims. It's just something that you'd have to really dig into why it's better. And probably the longer that Shadow is a thing and the more shadows that are out there, the less it's going to be a concern, because I don't feel like in most instances it's quite as oppressive as as the other fast move users, because in most cases there's stab on top of that, like your shadow razor leafers, your shadow fire users to some extent with Fire Fang, and your shadow shadow charmers, those all just have stab on top of hard hitting move on top of shadow bonus, and so you just don't really have the same leeway for responding. One of the side things that I think is worth noting that came up on the stream with Mr. Dr. Pants as well with regard to the switch tray is one of the side benefits of seeing the health bar in the box, if you will, is that you can more instantly tell exactly how and when a fast move goes through. And I think that will be useful for testing and predictability purposes, and it should be useful for reviews for tournament folks running tournaments. Do you think that is something that you'll be able to use to your advantage to speed up reviews, Alyssa?
I guess I won't really know till I get into it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where we were testing things like, getting in a certain number of 1 or 2 turn moves before a 3 or a 4 turn move goes through, and you could very instantly see, like, you made the swap and you look and you see that the damage is sitting there on the confusion did or didn't go through on the Toxicroak, and you don't have to wait until later in the video to see, like, when it comes back in, whether the damage went through. It just feels like it would be useful to have that extra information reviewing the video.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. So I'm not really too. Do we think that for these paid events, though, it speaks of incense locked Pokemon, but it seems to me like those are not going to be locked to the tickets or the events. Does that seem accurate to you guys as well? And it seems as if you're going to be able to get the Pharaoh Seed actually from the incense. It might even be the only way to get it. It speaks of. Let's see.
I thought you needed to buy the ticket to have
the way
spawns.
They put together a combined release on the Pokemon Go Live page, and it says timed research will be available for ticket holders during the event times. These research tasks will provide you a chance to encounter Chansey, Sunkern, Mawile, Spoink, Bronzor, Gibble, and Sewaddle, as well as earn items such as Incense Star Piece and Charizard Mega Energy. Special Pokemon will be attracted to incense, such as Bulbasaur, Charizard, Squirtle, Pikachu, Sableye, Patrat, Mencino, Pharaoh Seed, and various forms of Unknown. If you're lucky, you might find a shiny Pharaoh Seed. My feeling is that they're probably going to run this a lot like they ran GoFest, where essentially there's 2 things going on at once. There's one set of spawns that are ticket locked and one set of spawns that are incense locked. And that if you are looking for Pharaoh Seed, you may, in fact, not be at any disadvantage whatsoever to get those.
I think that's really vague.
It is vague, and I think it goes hand in hand with the criticisms we always give Niantic for the way they word things. You kind of have to read between the lines, and over time you kind of figure out what they mean by things. But to me, it feels like that's what they're going to do. We shall see. The special Pokemon appearing in the wild are specific to each special event weekend. Yeah, I mean, it's very confusing, but that's how I feel that's going to go down. If you were to find out on Sylph Road or just Twitter or whatever that was the case, would you bother to drop incense and play just to get those spawns, or would you?
Yeah, I would drop incense. I'm just against jumping through hoops to be a part of the event.
Right. Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I would be lying if I said I wasn't taking part in them, but it is not something that I like. And the main reason I'm taking part in the Verizon thing is just because I already am a customer, as opposed to, I certainly wouldn't have changed carriers. Like you said, it's not even practical for people to change carriers. It's foolish that they would have people do that on such a short time frame. It would be one of the few events where you could imagine where they say, if you switch to Verizon this Christmas or something, then you'll get to do this event like in January or something. If they gave you a little bit of lead time that made sense somehow, even though it's still outrageous, this kind of lead time is pretty, like, nobody's going to do it. I can't imagine anybody's going to jump carriers for this. The only other event occurring that they have announced, Animation Week. It seems like the focus of this is going to be Riolu and Golurk. And for people like Ethan, the hatted Pikachu. I've seen enough Golurk during this event that at least I feel like they're no longer rare, but I'm anticipating that we will get kind of a barrage of them coming up, and their novelness in GBLs will no longer be a thing. Those are probably the 2 most PvP relevant things that I can see. Oh, and we're gonna get Aeroblast Lugia. That's
That's huge.
burying the lead. Sorry, it's not in the picture. It's not in the title. It's just, oh, by the way, that Aeroblast Lugia that everybody thought we were gonna get right before COVID started. Yeah, we're gonna get that.
So far, the only thing we're missing is Pinsir Raid Day.
The only thing we're missing is Pinsir Raid Day, which was the one of the weird things that actually didn't ever have a move associated with it. So we could get the Pinsir Raid Day, still not get a move, and they could not be completely failing in their.
I'm so excited.
Can we just not speak that into existence?
Pinsir Raid Day needs to exist. It just needs to exist. Yeah.
So Aeroblast was in fact pushed into the game. Let me. Do you have the stats at your fingers, Ethan, or is that you probably not?
Well, I do know. I looked at it. I do think that it's comparable to Draco.
It was
I think that's what
180 damage, 75 energy.
Yeah.
1
and
in
there's
8 chance of
debuff,
2-stage self attack buff.
Or attack buff.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right. And it's a flying type move, but it seems like am I right that the conventional wisdom going around seemed to be that people were saying you were going to go double flying type moves because Sky Attack was still the only viable thing to pair with it?
Possibly, yeah, because Hydro Pump takes a while. And you don't really use Hydro. It's non-stab, so you don't really use it too often. Sky Attack just comes out so quick, so probably that's the way to go. And then you just have a full flying kit, and then this does more damage than Draco, by the way. So.
Yeah, I'm still curious whether they will change it last minute like they've sometimes been known to do. I'm a little bit hesitant to make my plans based on what they've pushed out there, but it's nice to know that they've at least advertised it's coming again. If they pull this on us twice and take it away, I think we can all rage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. That a self boost on a move that already does 180 damage.
Right.
You're basically
it's basically
for the next Pokemon.
I think that what they should do is the animation for Aeroblast, the Lugia should just say GG and smile at your opponent and just be like, yeah, I got the boost.
Yeah, that's insane. I already know it's going to be 100% too when it first comes out, because that's usually how it always is. It's feels like everyone gets the boost. So that's crazy.
I heard some people talking about the unreliable effects of Shadowbone in the beginning, that somehow it seemed like it was way too frequent, that it was proccing, and then it went down to normal. So,
yeah, and then it went down. Yeah, exactly.
So who knows?
So I can't even imagine Aeroblast. Just don't play GBL when it first comes out. Just don't.
You just lead Lugia, you shield everything, you Aeroblast, and you win.
Yeah. I'm not counting on that. I don't think that it's going to be released as powerful as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's probably... Yeah, they're probably going to
Debbie Downer. I don't have my tinfoil bow handy.
Oh, man, that needs to be a thing. Talking about
it's going to be. It's going to be.
Speaking things into existence, tinfoil bow, definitely.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Alyssa, I think it's going to be probably 150 damage, probably. Just comparable to Draco Meteor.
Do you ever think they leak these stats out to try to get us all hype about it?
I think so. I think so. I actually think that's exactly what it is.
It'd be really funny if there was no effect. That's just a placeholder. Yeah, that would.
You like the idea of the troll move, I guess.
Honestly, props to the coders. For real. It's awesome. I just don't think they realize how powerful it's gonna be until it's implemented, and then they're like, "Uh-oh, we play tested this. This is an issue," and then change it as they go.
I suppose
These are
you
placeholders.
you could make the argument that they push it, and that somehow the way that they push it is necessary for them to test it behind the scenes, but they, in whatever, their clients are different, and that they are playing with it right now, and maybe they do play test it a little bit in the background, and they're like, whoa, we can't do this. But we certainly know from Lock On that they have a history of letting something go live without realizing how ridiculous it is.
I mean, is there a move that does 180 damage base in this game? I'm gonna look, but I don't remember there being a charge move that does quite that much damage.
It sounds
let's see.
outrageous.
Yeah, I think all the base of like the max is 150. Like, what is it? Solar Beam is a Draco Meteor clone. What is it? Like, you think of all these hard hitting charge moves. They're all Draco Meteor clones. So, like Giga Impact. Fire Blast isn't, which is interesting. It's like 10 damage less, but yeah, I think it's gonna be 150, but that's a prediction, or even 140.
I think as is, it's going to be broken.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe we'll get it for a day or two or not at all before they go ahead and fix it. But
Right.
yeah, that's not. I mean, that would just like wreck up everything. Even resisted, the damage would still be a lot.
That would be way too much. I think it takes out pretty much any Pokemon that's not bulky. So
It's like Lugia meta everywhere.
Yeah. So pretty bad. Yeah, it's pretty scary, but it's gonna get nerfed. So we don't have to worry about that, I don't think. But yeah, so how was your trip? Was it
Oh, it was okay. Uneventful, spawnless, stopless, gymless.
that's what we when Trotter came on, he was on vacation too, and he was like, I was really enjoying it. So
the break was nice. I didn't even think about it like at all.
Exactly.
So it was good. I didn't do GBL. I wasn't stressed because all of my sunrise things were done, and I ended on like a pretty good note after really sucking all month. I managed to pull a win out. I don't know where that came from. It was because I changed my team. That's what it was. I ran like variations of the same team, and then it wasn't until I switched to Shadow Articuno that I started pulling wins out. So it was all to the Icy Bird that I owe that success.
Shadow Ice, huh?
I have to say, unfortunately, that I was relying too heavily on the Shadow Ice, or not the Shadow Ice, but the Ice Bird bringing me success, and it didn't work last minute for me. But
was yours a regular one?
It was a regular one, and its IVs were mediocre, but it maxed out fairly close. It did most of what it needed to do, but I was disappointed. Not in it.
I think the shadow boost there really, really helps. The extra fast move damage, just a little bit, but I think it's what it needs.
It's important. Yeah, I think everything, like I was saying, I think we were talking about this on another segment.
It's like the Mawile thing.
Yeah.
You need the shadow part of that one.
We were talking about it in an earlier segment, and I was saying like Shadow Ice in Sunrise is kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like Abomasnow beats Abomasnow regular by being Shadow. So it's like, or like it just like takes over so many more matchups. So like you don't really want the regular Abomasnow. So it's like just
liked
seeing
to play that one. I just didn't have a good Shadow.
I don't have one either. Yeah, so I just had to do with what I had, and regular Abomasnow just did not cut it. I had the similar experience to the Articuno Jiggly, so that was the last tournament that I did, the LA one, and that was it for me. And then that was it.
I almost feel like it needs to be a weekly segment. How many Shadow Skarms and Shadow Aerodactyl did you see this week? I saw 0 of either this week.
1 Aerodactyl, 0 Skarmories.
I haven't left my house this entire week.
Okay. But the balloons still didn't bring you any, or at least you didn't see them.
No.
I don't know.
Oh,
No,
I
I
was
will
gonna
be
say I was
very
off my
interested.
phone a lot.
Yeah.
This
Well, that's
week.
good. That's good, Ethan. We're proud of you. We're glad that you're off your phone.
Yay!
That's good.
Except for all the raids and GBL sets at ridiculous hours of the night. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you guys, I guess, going back to kind of what we were saying before, where do you guys think that things like the Marowak raid day fit into their cash grabbiness and what you're willing to partake in? Because it's kind of one of those things that's been a fairly almost traditional thing they've been doing ever since they did, I think the legendary birds were the first set of raid days, and the community kind of embraced it. It was one of those things where they would get a move, it was good, and you didn't have to get a bunch of them, but getting a bunch of them was definitely fairly common. What do you think about something like that, where it's purely a PvP mon, and it's purely just changing what's already available on it? Do you think that is a healthy dynamic to do those kind of raid days, or do you think that is them pushing it too far as well?
Didn't they give away free passes? I didn't play.
They did.
But wasn't there a thing where you were
They
spinning
did.
stops and getting up to 5? I think that's really great.
Yeah.
And that's nice. But there's a lot of people who, like Ethan, are not leaving their house right now. Like me, I was grateful that a lot of my friends were sending me Marowak raids because they knew that I was in a place where I wasn't getting them. So I did spend more money on passes than I probably would have any other day, and definitely more than anyone who was going out and playing would have. But I bought them because I wanted it. I stopped at like 8, I think. I wasn't willing to put any more money into it than that. But as long as they're giving away the free raid passes, I don't know. I like that. If I were able to play, I'd like it. If I were one of the people who were choosing not to leave my house or couldn't leave my house for medical reasons, or just because they're being super responsible about COVID, then I'd be pretty upset about it, because it's definitely encouraging us to go get out there or spend money on remote raid passes.
Right. I was thinking about this earlier, and it's something that seems relatively straightforward. It seems about as straightforward as the switch tray thing and the being able to delete eggs thing that people bring up fairly frequently. But to me, the one thing that would just solve almost every one of the problems with what we've got right now is to just eliminate the difference between a regular raid pass and a remote raid pass, because right now they're selling the remote raid passes for less typically, but they're not in the bundles or not in the boxes, and you're max capped out on them. And anytime they do something that involves giving you free things, it's always, this many of this or this many of that, and depending on which mechanism you get it, it's very whatever. It's very dependent on play style, and I feel like that nothing should be dependent on play style in terms of the free stuff they give you. They've already proven to us that if they want to, they can give us a free box full of stuff. They do it every day, but it's always just like a worthless, just like one spin's worth of stuff, and it's really only enough to do the bare minimum. If you were like opening the game, you lived somewhere with internet but no stops, and you just wanted to catch one thing a day, then you could open the box and keep your streak going. But why do they have to come up with these various ways of giving us free stuff and then still encourage you to go out to do the free part?
I think stacking up the free passes, like having the ability to save the free ones that you get every day,
Right.
would be a positive change. That would be pretty neat. I don't see why they have to be like used that day.
Right. Yeah. It would seem like, I've always thought that maybe there could be a limit, but like it would be more like the limit that they've got on remote raid passes right now is 5, and you could have a limit of like 3 or 5 or a whole week's worth, but not more than that. And I can understand they wouldn't want to keep track of like hundreds of them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But just like you log into the game, you just get it. You don't need to spin a stop because that's the reality we live in. Some people can spin a gym and other people can't. And the fact that they give us these things in such weird ways is just the part that rubs me the wrong way. And how do you feel about that, scientist, since you don't really leave your house? How do you feel about the way that they distribute raid passes when it comes to how much you do or don't pay for an event?
Well, I think that they should definitely provide people. It goes back to the whole worldly view thing. Like Niantic thinking about things really strategically and actually like caring about the global population. Because I mean, some places are in purple tier. I don't know if you. I don't know. That basically means like the worst tier. We're reverting back to purple tier in some areas of California, New York, other areas. And they should be mindful of like even like Europe and other places. They're having these resurgences of the virus, um, and it seems like they're getting us to go out more than ever, which is really it's just like it's a really counterintuitive kind of thing, because then we're just going to be suffering through this even longer than we need to. So I really don't think that the whole. I honestly think that they should release passes in the stop every day, like remote passes in the stop every day. I think that that's definitely a change that needs to happen, because you have like people that don't even have, Zekrom, Reshiram, because they couldn't go out and raid. Like they have to rely on raid invites, and some people don't even have like friends or local communities that invite them to these raids. So yeah, I think that um and they may have gyms, but they might not have a local community. So I think that like having a raid pass in the store would definitely help alleviate some of that, because then more people would be raiding. People wouldn't have to worry about going outside. They could just do it. Whatever they see, they can do it. And it might even genuinely get more people into Pokemon Go right now, because a huge part of Pokemon Go right now, like huge part of Pokemon Go, is raiding PvP. That's pretty much all we can do right now. Like besides the like hardcore players like that go out every single day and catch and stuff. But pretty much raiding and PvP is what's happening right now, and whether that's a good thing or not, I don't have a stance on that, but because my stance is always grinding is life. But yeah,
I was
but
one of the thoughts on that front that came to mind that I thought was a little bit interesting. I don't know if it merits an entire Bellsprouts, but I'd be interested to hear what you guys think, especially you, Ethan, is that one of the things that was always kind of an ethical decision, you always say that you think it's a moral game, and I agree that it has a lot to do with ethics and morals. And it used to be the case that car players were frowned upon, and now it's almost gotten to the point where the world conditions that we've gotten to and the game that Niantic has handed us, car players are considered like the responsible ones because they're staying in their car and not exposing themselves to anything else. So it's almost completely flipped on its head, like the traditional knowledge. What do you think of that?
So actually, before I don't want to cut Alyssa off, but I do have a point here.
You're not. I just feel
okay.
attacked.
Oh, okay. You feel
I'm
attacked.
just saying what people say. I'm not saying what you should do. I'm just saying that's kind of the community. It was like if you were a car player, like you're not a real player, and now it's almost like if you're not a car player, you're like a bad person because you're like out there with the people.
So I'm definitely a bad person. But yeah, I'm not. So speaking of Sai again, Super Sai Sensei, he came over for a community day, and he was like not. He's from SoCal, but he's like closer to the water, so it's definitely cooler in like Tustin and Orange. And so he's like closer to the beach, and so he came out to Riverside, and I guess he just did not expect the sort of heat that he'd be experiencing that I just deal with on a daily basis whenever I'm like really playing hardcore. And so like we were out there for like 3 or so hours playing the event. He was just like, my whole crew's dead, we're gonna go switch the car now. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be like walking around UCR still, because even though it's like the heat of the day, like 2 in the afternoon, like I'm still down to grind in this 105 temperature. And he was like, okay,
Wow.
you're crazy. And
Wow.
I don't know. But I don't know. That whole dynamic too. There's two sides to that coin, I feel like, because yeah, sure, you're reliable, like getting in a car and being away from people, but then there's another side of it where because Sai invited me to come with him in the car, and like I had not been in a car at all during the pandemic at all, and I decided to go because I know that he's been, practicing social distancing, and he's only been playing in the car. But had that been any other person from the like from the Pokemon community, like I haven't even been in the car with like one of the people that I play with every day, even though like I know he's like super, like he's social distanced all the time. Like I don't trust. I don't know. I just it was it's like a dynamic, because I know he goes out too. So it's like you really can't trust anyone, and it was kind of like just a spontaneous decision, because he had left for the day, and I was just like, okay, I'll just might as well go with Sai. Um, but I still feel like, honestly, um, you should just stay home if you can. Like, don't like just really think about how long you play for, and if you're gonna play for more than 3 hours, I would definitely advise to think twice. Double think. Goodness gracious, think twice about that decision, because you could be impacting the lives of those around you. But that is my opinion.
But not if you play in your car.
But not if you play in your car. As long as you're not playing with anyone besides your family, you're set. So you can play in your car. Is that like super duper safe? There's things. there's things about that. But yeah. I mean, if you're gonna play, definitely you have air conditioning. It's super duper nice. I'm not saying like car players are like terrible people. I never have said that. I honestly think that you can play the game however you want. But I'm just personally the type of player to be insane and go out in 120-degree temperature and literally fry myself and my phone to get these virtual creatures.
I think
So
I'm like jaded on this because I don't live in an area where it's really feasible for me to walk and play. Like I could go to one park and bounce between the 3 stops that are there, but that's not super grindy. And then I could walk a mile to the next gym.
So that's another thing, yeah. So I mean, obviously, college campus. So there is that element, and I'm like a mile away. So I've definitely been like super duper lucky on that front, and that is why will never ever ever judge someone for playing in a car, because you may not have the access to stops, gyms, whatnot, in your immediate area, and that is, you're just min-maxing the game in another way. That's all it
There's
is.
areas nearby that I could go and walk, and that I do enjoy going to walk, like River Market and Little Rock during the day is really nice. But there's zero chance if I'm playing anytime sunset or later that I would walk around Little Rock because I value my life.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
Right.
That's
not
another
worth
thing.
it.
That's another thing. Yeah. So if you're playing at night, you should really, rethink your life choices.
Hey! Now I feel attacked.
No, I'm attacking myself. So let me tell you. So the latest I've been at UCR is like 2 in the morning.
So that's like a college campus, and not like
It is a college
city with like the most murders per capita.
You know
in the
what?
South.
You know what? We actually we do get my mom actually really worries about me because like we
And
get
she
emails
should.
like yeah, she really should. She gets emails. Well, we both get emails about like shootings that happen like right off the campus, like every single night almost. And because there's like a really rough area like right north of campus, and there's like barely any stops there, so I don't really go there, but you have to park there, so I have to that's where I park. So it's kind of I get sketched out every time I go to UCR and I stay long periods, and that's why I don't really play at night really anymore. But when it was like school time, I was staying on campus until like 2 in the morning. Not like straight playing Pokemon Go, like I would be in the library studying, and then I was like walking around at 1 in the campus, like going back to my car, and I'm like, might as well just stay here for an hour. I'm already up. And I'll just like walk around and catch things and be like, okay, I'm tired now. But yeah, I mean, it's just you're min-maxing the game in a different way, and I mean, only the real like insane, like actually like crazy players, and there's nothing wrong with being crazy.
All right.
But only like the real crazy players will like go to that same spot every single day. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with being I don't know if that's a shot. Is that a shot?
Ethan is defining certain people in the community as mentally ill. He's defined some of his friends he's willing to play with in the car, but not only Super Science Sensei, not his other friends who he believes have taken reliable measures. They're still sus.
What if they're watching right now?
He actually is probably. But I don't know. No, Super Sai is awesome. All of his friends were super nice to meet. It was just a little like he could tell that I was sketched about it, and like he knew that like I was like still like thinking about, like what it could mean. So like yeah, exactly. So
The most responsible out of any of us, for sure.
All right, so now I have to address the personal attacks levied against me for playing late at night. I will say that, tying into what Alyssa said and tying into the life choices thing, it's very much a where you live kind of thing, because where I lived before, although I would play at night, I would be very hesitant to do so, or I'd be very like leery of it. Like I'd be in my car and I'd be kind of like looking around where I'm at. When I was in Pennsylvania, it probably switched to being more concerned about looking like that sketchy guy who's like in the middle of downtown with no reason except to play Pokemon. And then now with COVID in where I live, back in Northwest Indiana, I live in a nicer area, and it switched from me worrying that the police will think that I'm weird for hanging out at the park at a late hour, to me thinking that the police have basically gotten used to people with COVID life, and they're just like, this is just not something that we're worried about anymore. So like they come through, and literally I was trading the other day with somebody, just pulled up in a park at like 1 in the morning or something, and the cop came by, and I was just kind of like, you know what, if they say something like we're sitting here playing Pokemon, whatever, I'm not worried about it. So do not personally attack me for my life choices. It's the only way I can get in my trades.
No, okay, I'm not personally. I'm not. That's not an attack. I'm saying like crazy. I didn't mean crazy like mentally. I meant crazy. I didn't get to finish it. Crazy about the game. That's the sentence I meant to finish. So Dedicated. Dedicated is a better, like way better word. There you go. So
dedicated.
Definitely very committed players. So I'm a very committed player, but this very committed player is also lives in a purple tier state. So yeah, it's kind of sad. So but yeah, I mean it's super nice to take breaks from the game too. So but I was definitely one of those people that was like catching all the time. So yeah, I
I just,
was, huh?
I just want to report that I've caught, for I believe the second time, a 0-15-15 Shuppet that's way too high for PvP. Do I keep it for level 50 ban it, or do I just dump it out of spite?
I
know that's out of the blue, but I'm looking at it and it just makes me angry anytime I see the 0-15-15 and it's completely useless. It just makes me want to cry.
I mean, I could check that for you while we move on to a different.
It's been transferred. It's too late.
You already did it?
You're too
Okay,
slow.
well, you didn't look up the mega at
I
all?
didn't.
Okay, well.
Wait, there's a mega Bannet?
Yeah.
Oh god.
That's what Gengar's wearing. Did you not know the costume?
No, I didn't know what the hell Gengar was wearing. He's wearing a mega Bannet costume?
Yeah.
Are they like friends or something? I would think there would be like a ghost rivalry thing going on between the two.
I don't know. You just deleted a rank 1 Mega Bayonet for Ultra League, so I hope that makes you feel comforted.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
Wait, what was the level? Do you know?
29. It was level 29.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It was a rank 1, but yeah, never mind.
Oh man.
It's okay.
So have you been twiddling your thumbs? Have you been doing any more of your GBL since getting the Switch mechanic in place, Alyssa? You can fess up and let us know how you feel
I'm trying to be engaged here.
You're good.
That's
good.
Nice.
We're proud of you. What is this picture that you have from this person named Go with the animation event that you put in the outline, Ethan?
You don't know who that is?
No.
Oh.
Oh, Go?
Why should
you don't
I
know who that? Why is Go in there? Because Go avatar items are coming out with the event.
And who is Go? Like, I don't know.
Oh, he's from the Sun and Moon, like anime. That's all.
I haven't seen any of the recent ones. What is he holding, a Rotom Dex, or is that something else?
Yeah, it's a Rotom Dex.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from the Sun and Moon, I think. The Sun and Moon anime. But yeah, he's just like
Pokemon Journeys. It's the one that's like on now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the newer one.
I really would love to watch some of the newer ones, but frankly, I just don't have enough time, and my kids aren't interested. So if they were interested, I would watch it with them. But
thankfully, I have young boys.
Yes.
Who are very interested.
Oh.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Not at all because I want to watch it.
I remember the days of being able to like multitask by having my kids watch Pokemon, and I would enjoy it.
But yeah, so his avatar items are going to be in the shop, I think. So that's cool. He's a nice sweatshirt.
All right. And you're excited for your hats. I see that in the past week, apparently, the shadow form for Cofagrigus was added to the game, but I can't imagine that we're actually going to. Do you think we're going to see that? It feels like it's too late to get it this year, don't you think? If we're after Halloween, a shadow. What it would be, a shadow Yamask, right? Would have to exist, and we haven't seen one.
I don't think I would put anything past them as far as timing goes, but it would make sense for it to come out with Halloween.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird on the timing, but I mean, it might still come out. Like, could come out in a matter of days. I don't know.
Yeah, and the other main thing that was added to the game was that they added the assets needed for the Pokemon home integration, the quote home transporter, just a logo for the game, a home transporter Pokeball, and it's my understanding that if you look now at the mystery box, that it also now references home. So certainly we're all used to the hurry up and wait kind of situation, but I would somewhat anticipate that we're going to see the Go integration launch this week. And that ties into all the conversations we've been having, but I would say that I look forward to the integration existing and testing it out, and knowing me, I will probably pay for it, but it's just another layer of something to pay for this game, so it really does start to add up.
Most definitely. Yeah, I'm still waiting for sleep though.
Definitely waiting for sleep. Definitely not gonna lie on that one. Let me see if the teardown
figuratively and literally. So, waiting for sleep. Yeah.
and
one day.
And it will be, well, we still have another Bellsprouts before Flying Cup, right? We don't have to tease that because if we actually do get together and do Flying Cup live.
Isn't Flying Cup on the 6th?
Is it on the 6th?
Or the 5th?
It's this Thursday.
Okay, it's
yeah,
this
I know,
Thursday.
'cause my birthday is on Friday, so we don't have another Bellsprouts before that one.
So we have to tease that then. So if it's Thursday night, then if hopefully we're all still in for that, and I will make my I don't know if I'll make my Shadow Aerodactyl or not. I guess it's probably not, because they're probably not going to give us another event to TM at, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is all the news that I think I am aware of. I guess we didn't touch the GBL leaderboards, but there probably wasn't anything too deep going on there, just different names. I know that a lot of people who've reached their goals have kind of started tanking and fooling around. Must be nice. Not a
Must
situation.
Be so nice.
Not a situation that I'm in.
Must be so nice.
Anything else that you think we missed?
I think we're good. Yeah, I mean, we talked about like Go Team Up. Yeah, so yeah.
Let's see. Team Rocket PvP wants to do a series where you party watch the new show, since Sosa only knows Gen 1. Oh, well, poor Sosa getting grief for only knowing Gen 1. Well, let's see. We've got Victor in here. We had JR Skater in the audience earlier. I think it would be a good place to throw the raid if nobody disagrees. Let's see. There's no E in Skater, right? Let's see.
No, it's just Skater TR.
All right. It's been great, everybody. Please come back for Bellsprouts Flying Cup on Thursday. I think we will do a Marsh Cup on Wednesday, and who knows what Jiggly will come up with between now and then. I've become a lot less scheduled, and we will see what I come up with. So thank you everybody for coming in this week. Anything that you wanted to throw in before we raid Alyssa?
ARPVP is hosting a Marsh Cup on the 4th, and we're looking to make it 7 rounds. So if you're looking for one, come find us there.
All right. I know I am interested, and I assume you have nothing else to add, right, Ethan?
No, I might do that as well. I'm thinking it could be my first tournament back.
He's back.
I'm back.
All
Maybe.
right.
We'll see.
All right. Give some love to JR Skater. Spam the emotes. See you all next time.
Bye.